Hi, my name is Shivesh. I'm a baker, author, and this is my how-to series. This is the ultimate beginner's guide to getting your baking basics right. I'll be talking about everything from whipping cream to chocolate ganache, caramel, and so much more. So I've been blogging and sharing recipes for many years now, and I know for a fact whenever I share a recipe which calls for eggs, I get lots of comments reading the same thing. What is the substitute for egg in this recipe? So I thought for once and for all, let me sit down and make a video on all the ingredients that you can use in place of eggs while baking. Before we start, two very important things that you should keep in mind. A, instead of trying to substitute eggs in a recipe, try looking for recipes which are already eggless. So a lot of websites and channels do eggless recipes that you can just pick and use. So my channel also has an entire playlist on eggless recipes that you must check out. And that is because people like me substitute eggs and try a lot of different things before we share the recipe with you. So this is just to make things easier for yourself. The second thing that you should remember is that there's no copy pasting that you can do here. There's no fixed formula that you can apply while substituting eggs. So if one ingredient works as a great substitute for egg in one recipe, doesn't mean it'll work for the other recipe as well. For example, if I'm making my chocolate cake and I'm substituting eggs with bananas, mashed bananas, that doesn't mean I can use mashed bananas to make macarons as well. That wouldn't work. So eggs are used in baking for multiple reasons. It's a very versatile ingredient. It acts as a binder, leavening agent, gives structure to your desserts, among many other things. So what I'm going to do in this video is that I'm sharing 6 ingredients with you which make for great egg substitutes, and we'll understand where to use them and how much to use them. The first ingredient that I want to talk about is flax egg. If you've been following my channel or my recipe, you would know that I love using flax egg instead of a regular egg because I think it works as a great substitute. It's made with 2 ingredients, just ground flax seeds and water. The ratio is very important here, and to make 1 flax egg, which would be a substitute for 1 egg, you use 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds and 3 tablespoons of water. So if you have flax seeds at home, first you need to grind them into a fine powder to make a flax meal. Now remember, if you take 1 tablespoon of flax seeds, once you ground them, it'll become 2 tablespoons. So the volume almost doubles, which is why it is important to remeasure your flax seeds once you've powdered them and before you add water to it. So we'll take 1 tablespoon of that ground flax seeds and mix it with 3 tablespoons of water. Then after giving it a good mix, we'll just let it sit on the counter for about 5 minutes, and after a couple of minutes, you can again give it a good mix, and you'll realize that after 5 to 7 minutes, it becomes thick and matches the consistency of an egg. So I would normally use my flax egg in cookies or brownies, and I love using it in cookies especially because here the egg is not making things fluffy for me. The job of the egg here is to just hold everything together and give my cookie a little bit of structure. And the flax egg does a great job doing just that. But sometimes I also use it for my cakes. So I don't know if you guys have seen the whole wheat apple cake recipe on the blog. It's a whole wheat recipe, it's eggless, but flax egg still does a great job making my sponge fluffy and light. The second substitute that I want to talk to you guys about is a chia egg. So just like flax seeds, even chia seeds have great absorption properties. When you combine chia seeds and water, chia seeds have this incredible property of swelling up, absorbing all the water and forming a gel-like consistency that you can use in place of egg. To make a chia egg, you don't need to grind the chia seeds into a fine powder like we did with the flax egg. But there are 2 reasons actually why I prefer using flax egg over a chia egg as a substitute to egg. The first reason is that the chia egg takes longer. So for chia seeds to absorb all the water and to swell up takes about 10 minutes. And the second reason is that chia eggs make things slightly denser. So I would use it only for my cookies and brownies and never for my cakes because I want the cakes to have that fluffy texture, which the chia egg does not always give me. The next substitute that I'm talking about is mashed bananas. You can replace 1 egg with 1/4 cup of mashed bananas. Replacing eggs with mashed bananas in recipes like pancakes, brownies and other desserts is a great idea, not only because it gives structure and a fluffy texture, but also because it adds a nice amount of sweetness to your dessert. I personally love replacing eggs with bananas in recipes that have oats. Oat and banana pancakes are my favorite. Chocolate and banana go really well together. Peanut butter, dates. So the thing is that bananas, when you add them to a recipe, they will have an aftertaste in your dessert. So you would be able to taste bananas. So always use them in a dessert where you're okay with getting that taste of bananas. Now let's talk about my personal favorite egg substitute, which is yogurt. You know it, I use it all the time to make eggless sponge cakes, be it chocolate, vanilla or any other flavor. Yogurt adds not only a great taste to the recipe, but its natural fats make the dessert fluffier and richer. You can use 1/4 cup of yogurt to replace 1 egg. One simple thing to remember here is to use yogurt which is thick and not too watery. The dahi that we make at home usually has a lot of water, so it's better to use store-bought yogurt. Greek yogurt is the best. The other thing that you can do is to hang your homemade curd overnight, let all the excess water drain out, and then use the thick yogurt that is left behind. Now another tip here, something that I love doing is adding a little bit of baking soda to my yogurt, giving it a good mix and then letting it rest on the counter for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you will see it become super fluffy. Now what happens here is that the basic alkaline baking soda reacts with the acidic curd and forms bubbles of carbon dioxide, and this is what would make your final cake or cupcake super light and fluffy. And I've honestly done this in endless recipes. You'll find a long list on my channel for the basic vanilla cake, most recently for Oreo cupcakes, and also for my coffee walnut cake. Another great substitute for egg is sour cream. Because it has high fat content, it can actually mimic the fat in the egg and make your recipes extra rich and moist. You can substitute 1 egg with 1/4 cup of sour cream. In the same dairy category, another great substitute is buttermilk, which is basically a combination of milk with an acid. You can use vinegar or lemon juice. Just mix lemon juice or vinegar in milk, mix it and let it sit on the counter until you start seeing curds in the milk, and this works as a great substitute for recipes like pancakes and waffles. Now let's talk about apple sauce. Now this may sound like an odd substitute, but honestly it works great. The best part is that apple sauce doesn't have a taste of its own. So once you taste that dessert, you'll not taste the apples, which I think is great. Now if you don't have access to applesauce from supermarkets, you can make it at home easily just by cooking apples, which are peeled, cored and diced in water and then blitzing it in a food processor. You can substitute 1 egg with 1/4 cup of applesauce. Another egg substitute that I want to talk about is aquafaba, which is basically water from a can of chickpeas. Now this has very high protein content and whips up exactly like an egg white does. So a lot of people use it to make meringue or eggless macarons or meringue kisses. I've also tried using it to make an eggless Japanese cheesecake. Now I would recommend getting a can of chickpeas from the supermarket and using the water from that to make aquafaba. At this point, I'd also like to mention that there's still some recipes where there's probably no substitute for egg. Like I've never made choux pastry or eclairs without egg, so I don't know if there's a substitute that would work in place of eggs while you're making choux pastry. Now the last egg substitute that I want to talk about is condensed milk. It's one of the most popular egg substitutes, and I think we've all used it at some point or the other. It's a dairy product, very high in fat, and again it makes your desserts rich and fluffy. There should be nothing coming between you and your baking dreams, especially not something as simple as an egg. I hope this video helped you understand all the different egg substitutes that you can use and make some great desserts. If you thought this video was helpful, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and do share this video with all your friends who love to bake. I'll see you guys next week and we'll talk more about the how-tos of baking.